Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into a really cool game called Decimal Order. It's a super simple but incredibly powerful way to get your students talking, thinking, and most importantly, really getting decimals.
You know the scene, right? You hand out a worksheet to practice comparing decimals, and the room just goes dead silent. Sure, the kids are working, but are they thinking? Are they talking about place value or justifying their answers? Chances are, not so much.
Well, that's where Decimal Order completely flips the script. This game takes that quiet, routine practice and turns it into this lively, hands-on team challenge. It's all about building that deep understanding by getting students to actually talk about their math thinking out loud.
So, how does it all work? Well, the setup couldn't be easier, but the impact it has on student learning is, well, pretty huge. Let's walk through the essentials right now.
That's it. I'm serious. A deck of cards, a worksheet, and a pencil. This is the definition of a low-prep, high-impact activity. You can get this whole thing up and running in just a couple of minutes.
Okay, so the gameplay itself is really straightforward. First, you prep the deck, then players take turns drawing 4 cards to build a decimal number out to the hundredths place. But the real magic, the part we're really excited about, happens in steps 3 and 4. That's when students have to compare their numbers and then work together as a team to put the whole list in order. This is where that math talk just comes alive.
All right, let's actually walk through a sample round so you can see exactly how this game sparks those awesome math conversations and makes what's happening in your students' heads totally visible.
Okay, so player 1 draws 4 cards, a 2, a 4, a 5, and an 8. The first card is the tens place, second is the ones, third is tenths, and the last one is hundredths. So they build the number 24.58 and write it down.
And here it is. The magic is already starting. By using a simple sentence starter, the student isn't just writing a number. They're explaining how they built it, using that crucial place value language. This is step 1 to making their thinking crystal clear.
Now it's player 2's turn. They draw their cards and build 24.71. And notice how close that number is to the first one? That's perfect, because it sets up a really rich conversation.
This is why this game is so powerful. Player 2 doesn't just say, mine's bigger. They have to explain why. They have to pinpoint the exact place value that makes the difference. This is that critical reasoning we're always trying to build.
So, after 3 more players go, this is what the team has on their worksheet. A list of 5 different decimal numbers. And as you can see, there are a couple of tricky pairs in there, like those 2 numbers that both start with 19. That's going to make the next step interesting.
And now we get to the most important part of the whole game, the collaboration. The individual turns are done. Now it's a team challenge. They have to talk, they have to debate, and they have to come to an agreement on the final order, from least to greatest.
Now that is what real math collaboration sounds like. You have a student questioning the group, but in a productive way. And they're not just questioning, they're proposing a specific strategy, lining up the decimals to check their work. This is students really taking ownership of how they learn.
So you've seen how it plays out, but how do you actually fit this into your already packed classroom schedule? Let's open up the teacher's playbook and see how you can make this game work for you.
Honestly, the best thing about Decimal Order is how flexible it is. It is perfect for your math centers or stations. You can run it as a small group competition or have students do it as partner work. Use it for a whole class review, an end-of-unit celebration, or, hey, just a fun Friday game. And differentiating it is a piece of cake. For students who need a bit more support, just use 3 cards instead of 4. For your high flyers, add a 5th card for the thousandths place. You could even challenge them to convert the decimals to fractions. It's so easy to adapt for every single learner. Now, we've mentioned them a few times, but let's be really clear about the secret sauce here. Math Talk Sentence Starters. These are just short, simple prompts that give students the scaffolding they need to have those high-level academic conversations. And this slide just says it all, doesn't it? The difference is night and day. Without these starters, you get, mine's bigger. With them, you get, my number is greater because. You go from, you're wrong, to, I disagree, and here's why. It completely changes the quality of the conversation.
So at the end of the day, this game is about so much more than just putting decimals in order. It's really about bringing mathematical conversation to life in your classroom.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. When you turn practice into a collaborative game, you're creating this amazing environment where kids are engaged, they're helping each other, and not learning is so much more likely to actually stick.
So remember, the points, the winning team, that's all just fun motivation.
The real goal here is to create a space where your students feel safe and confident sharing how they're thinking, making their process visible to you, to their friends, and even to themselves. And that's really the bottom line. For you, the teacher, it's a minimal prep activity that saves you tons of time. For your students, it's a super fun, high-engagement game that actually deepens their understanding. It's a total win-win.
So we'll leave you with this question to think about. Whether you use decimal order or another activity, how are you going to create those opportunities for your students to talk about math and make all their brilliant thinking visible? Thanks for joining us.